You are on India Today podcasts and you are in the sledging room. All right, back in the sledging room on the back of some spectacular performances from India in the ongoing Asia Cup. Of course, remember India's Asia Cup campaign got off to a bit of a wet start with that game against Pakistan being washed out after a heroic rescue act by Ishan Kishan and Hardik Pandya in the middle order once Shaheen Afridi and Haris Rauf had destroyed the Indian top order. Pakistan couldn't bat, and it was almost like India went out, batted, and didn't let Pakistan bat. But it was not India who did that. It was the rain in Palekele. India versus Nepal again. Rain truncated, rain hit. But strong, resilient show by the Nepalese batters. But unfortunately for them, the Indian batting lineup was just too experienced. Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, who were in good form. Shubman Gill especially, he's risen to number 2 in the ODI rankings. Rohit Sharma already in the top 10, and Virat Kohli has also found his way back into the top 10. So 3 Indian batsmen there in the top 10 of the ICC ODI rankings for batsmen. The Super Fours then. Sunday, the original day of the game, there was a hastily arranged reserve day. We'll talk more about that as well. And obviously, as was expected, rain played spoil sport in Colombo on Sunday. And the game moved into the reserve day. And that was cue for Virat Kohli and KL Rahul to bat heroically. Both of them got to their hundreds. Virat Kohli got his 47th ODI 100. KL Rahul getting his maiden 100 against Pakistan and one-day internationals. And what a comeback that was. He got to know minutes before the toss that he would play against Pakistan. And of course, then India made easy work of the Pakistani batters. Jasprit Bumrah was brilliant. Hardik Pandya was brilliant with the new ball. And Kuldeep Yadav taking a 5-wicket haul. Next day, India came on against Sri Lanka. Right, another rain-hit match, not as badly affected as was the Pakistan games, but spinning pitch, almost 40 overs of spin from Sri Lanka and India stuttered. So KL Rahul, good innings that, 39. Ishan Kishan again showing a lot of grit and good technique, and of course another half century from the India captain, but he had gotten most of his runs before the spinners came on, and once Velalage came in, for the uninitiated, Dunit Velalage is a 20-year-old left-arm spinner, left-arm batsman, spectacular all-rounder on display. And he nipped out Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma in a frenetic first spell, and then of course came back to get the wickets of KL Rahul and Hardik Pandya to finish with a 5-wicket haul. And Charith Asalanka, part-time off-spinner for Sri Lanka, picking 4 for 18 in 9 overs, and Mahith Theeksana getting the other wicket. India losing all 10 wickets in an ODI for the first time in history to spinners in the opposition. And then India, of course, again, another good bowling performance. There was a bit of a scare from no one else but Velalage. Again, he was doing everything he could with the bat. There was a decent contribution from Charith Asalanka as well. And of course, Dhananjay Jadesha Silva is a seasoned performer for the Sri Lankan team now in limited overs cricket. But Saurabh, Akshay, this has been a fascinating week. First off, before we get into the nitty-gritties of India's World Cup preparation, India's performances in the Asia Cup, tell me something. I mean, over the last 3 or 4 days, I've been intrigued with the fact that people have criticized the decision to move the India-Pakistan Super 4 match into a reserve day. I'll give it a bit of a twist. I don't see any problems with that. India versus Pakistan, the most anticipated cricket match in the world, right? You have Ashes over in Australia and England, and you could understand the fanaticism around that tournament. But India versus Pakistan, when you're playing in the Asia Cup, I would rather watch an India-Pakistan full-fledged than, with all due respect to the other nations. But this is what draws the revenues in. This is what draws the eyeballs in for the broadcasters. Why not? What's wrong with it?
Yeah, Raj, there are 2 sides to this.
Tell me your side.
like if you say that, okay, giving a reserve day to India versus Pakistan is fair, then ideally Sri Lanka and Bangladesh should have also got a reserve day for their games. But at the same time, the criticism that was directed towards the Asian Cricket Council, just for not scheduling the matches in the UAE, persisting with Colombo, not moving to Hambantota, there were reports claiming that the bandwagon could move to Hambantota, where the weather was better than this. But on what basis are we talking all this? Colombo, the ACC stuck to it. knowing the weather would improve, there were forecasts for improved weather, and there was a reserve day schedule. If you look at it that way, getting the match done, India-Pakistan match done, filling the coffers, the biggest blockbuster, the gate fees for the Pakistan Cricket Board, of course, it was a good decision. It was a good decision having, so the biggest money earner will of course get the preference, like you said. But at the same time, if you look at it, if Sri Lanka and Bangladesh had their games washed out, things would have been questioned.
Yeah,
but you can't criticize the ACC for sticking to Colombo.
Yeah.
You can't make so many changes at the last moment. Never have we seen in cricket, like 1 week, 4 days before a big tournament. Even for World Cup matches, there were calls during the 2019 World Cup. There was inclement weather. There were calls for changing schedule and all that. But you can't do that when you have committed to sponsors, when you have committed to the associations. It's very difficult to shift tournaments.
No, it's not just about the revenues.
Yeah.
I think it was also a brave decision that the ACC, stuck by its initial call of not moving the matches to Hambantota, Dambulla here and there, because yes, like you said, logistically it would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Fans in Colombo would have expected or lined up to watch those high-profile games. And look, the fans in Colombo, when they walked off the ground after 24.1 overs, at the prospect of a mouth-watering India-Pakistan match, they would have been heartbroken had there been no reserve. They come back for it and they retain their tickets. It's not like you're asking them to pay extra. It's okay. You have to make those decisions sometimes.
Absolutely. And every cricket board, the Sri Lankan cricket board, the Bangladesh cricket board, the Pakistan cricket board, BCI, everybody was knowing this. Everybody agreed to this.
Yes.
So
that is their claim.
Yeah, obviously they knew this. Only then they came out and they claimed it. What happened was the Bangladesh coach and the Sri Lanka coach were not very happy with the decision. But on the same day, I think after 6 or 8 hours, and
official statements came from
was issued by every board at the same time on social media that we were in know-how of these things and we have no problem.
Yeah.
So everybody understands the importance of an Indian-Pakistan game.
Yeah.
See, we are not playing bilateral cricket. So these ACC tournaments and ICC tournaments are the only prospects of having to watch the mother of all clashes, India versus Pakistan.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to watch those games.
Sometimes social media's influence is so much that we think the entire world is just restricted to social media.
I heard, there were people who criticized it.
Definitely,
quite
but
a
that's
lot,
what I'm saying. So if
I
that
don't
match
agree
had
with that
been washed out
criticism.
on Sunday,
Yeah.
then they would have been like, scheduling error, India-Pakistan denied.
No, but tell me something.
Both sides, there will be criticism.
You're talking about how you don't have reserve days for some of the other matches. Let me just point that out to you. One reserve match was played in Lahore, right? Pakistan, Bangladesh. Sri Lanka, Bangladesh was played in Colombo without any sort of rain interruption.
Yeah. Not a single
minute was wasted because of rain. And India-Pakistan was the only clash where you knew there would be a lot of rain for the weekend and for Monday and Tuesday as well. Now what happens is nothing. No other board has had to lose anything really. Sri Lanka are still in with a chance. Pakistan are still in with a chance. Even as we're recording this podcast on Wednesday, Bangladesh are already out of the race for the final. Yeah. The winner of the Sri Lanka-Pakistan Super 4 match takes on India in the final, which is a virtual semi-final now. And by the way, if the Sri Lanka-Pakistan game is washed out, who goes to the final?
Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Because of a superior net run rate, and Pakistan's net run rate is like hammering after that crushing defeat to India. So, now even Sri Lanka can't really complain there. Yeah. And Bangladesh, as it is, they were out. Very impressive one-day team. But again, you have to look at logistics. You have to look at a lot of different factors. Look, you have to understand that cricket is so much about revenues. It's so much about broadcasters having what they want. And it's so much about also giving fans their due quota. Imagine last Saturday, right, on the 2nd of September, that India-Pakistan match was washed out. We were all heartbroken.
Absolutely.
As Indian fans, we really thought India had enough on the board. Yes, we criticized the Indian top order performance, but we also lauded Ishan Kishan and Hardik Pandya for what they did. And then the way the Indian bowlers bullied that Pakistani batting lineup, it made you wonder, what if there was a reserve day? What if some play had been made possible? Could India have beaten Pakistan in that game too? At least now it tells you that whatever Pakistan have to say, they're not the team to beat, really.
No, they're not.
We should come to that. Aren't they the team to beat? Look, superb from Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill, that opening partnership. Yeah. Superb hundreds from Virat Kohli and KL Rahul, and the way they accelerated, especially in the last 10 overs, getting 105 runs, reaching 356 for 2. The bowlers were brilliant. Bumrah, Hardik Pandya cutting Babar Azam into half almost with that ball that sliced in, and then Kuldeep Yadav. Again, so enigmatic. But looking at the overall composition of the Pakistani lineup, yes, I know they missed Haris Rauf for 5 overs. Naseem Shah injured himself. He almost bowled 10 overs. Shaheen Afridi was far from his best. But what does that tell you? One pacer has a bad day and your top 2 or 3 fail. Pakistan is not that fearsome anymore.
So, yeah, obviously, Pakistan is a team which works very good when their new ball attack gets wickets, first of all. Second thing, so even if your bowlers failed, your bowlers were taken to the cleaners, India posted a massive total, your batters should have come out with an intent. You should have actually gone for a total. It's not always about winning. Now what can happen? If they lose to Sri Lanka, and even if this game gets washed out, they will be out of the tournament just because of the net run rate. Yesterday what happened was, Australia and South Africa were playing a game where South Africa posted a very good total.
Yes.
Australia did not win this game. They lost by, I think, 111 runs, but they went for a total. They were trying to get those runs. And if you saw those Pakistani batters, they did not have any clue what to do. Fakhar Zaman, Babar Azam, Rizwan, you name them, and they were clueless against every Indian bowler.
Exactly, and they look clueless. They look clueless. Sorry, actually, just think on this, ponder over this. A lot of people have been talking up Pakistan. They were world number 1, now they're world number 2.
That's where I was coming.
But they looked clueless, like Saurabh said. And you're talking of intent. They had no plans. They almost looked scared against India's paces.
Yes.
Answering your question, Raj, are Pakistan the team to beat? Absolutely no. No disrespect to Pakistan going to number 1 in the points table in the ICC rankings. But
who did they
think
beat?
about the teams that they beat.
Yeah.
And think about the number of ODIs that top teams played in the last 2 years.
Pakistan have been the least, I think, among when you're talking of the last, in between the 2019 and the 2023 World Cups.
The last 2 years had 2 T20 World Cups.
Yeah.
The focus was entirely on T20 World Cup preparations, and big teams, for instance, New Zealand didn't play a lot of ODIs since the T20 World Cup and all that. So the big teams shied away from playing ODIs, and it was understandable because you have to manage workload, you have to prepare for T20 World Cups and all that. But Pakistan, I think, should get out of this bubble now. They shouldn't be thinking about the number 1 tag. ICC rankings never meant anything, as in, rarely means anything, right? Players who haven't played for a long while, they do sit in the ICC ODI rankings, T20 rankings, Test rankings. So go by the current form. And when your pace, the injuries happened when? To Naseem Shah, to Haris Rauf. Not during the first spell. Once you go after that Pakistan attack, they don't look like...
They're injured.
So not exactly putting it that way.
Yeah.
But once you start putting pressure, and that is what Rohit and Shubman did very well in that Super Force match. They were in the first match, Shubman Gill took 32 balls for his 10. There was lack of intent with the way he played, but India came out with a clear plan that we'll put the Pakistan attack under pressure. And they wilted under pressure.
And I think also they read the pitch very well.
Yes.
Pakistan, first off, they decided to win the toss and decided to bowl, which was a bit of a surprising move. But kudos to Shubman Gill for the way he started.
Yeah.
Absolutely taking Shaheen Afridi apart. Yeah. Also Rohit Sharma, he was put under a bit of pressure by Naseem Shah with the ball moving in, doing a lot. He at least stuck through, right? He weathered that storm and then he unleashed a few Rohit Sharma-esque shots. Yeah. And then, but also you have got to question Babar Azam's captaincy. Imagine, this guy brings in his part-time spinners when play resumes on the reserve day. Yeah. Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli are absolutely going to destroy spinners of any hue and color on a pitch like that. And when you're talking of part-time spinners, you're not really standing therein with a lot of chances. Yes, you've lost Haris Rauf, but you only lost 5 overs of Haris Rauf as compared to, say, 8 or 10
Naseem,
overs.
I think, got injured in his last
overs. I mean, he bowled 9.2 or 9.3 overs.
9.3 overs.
Yeah, he bowled almost his entire quota. But the point is, Babar Azam, could he not have gone to a couple of overs from Shaheen Afridi, Naseem Shah, trying to figure out that, look, there may not be 50 overs. That should have been your mindset. Let me try and get a couple of wickets here. Put these guys under pressure because Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, they weren't as fluent the day before.
Yeah.
You would have looked to create some sort of pressure. Instead, you let loose Sharab Khan, Iftikhar Ahmed, and who was the other one? Agha Salman? And, you let them off the hook immediately.
Before talking about Babar Azam's captaincy, Raj, do they have the team, Pakistan? their spin, Shadab Khan, has played so much T20I leading up to the ODI World Cup year that he seems to have forgotten the basics of ODI bowling. The lengths and the lines that he is bowling. That is sad to see. They don't have a good second spinner. Mohammad Nawaz, he's not getting chances. One bad game, he was taken away. You at least back your spinner. You're not doing that. You give him one game, you're taking him off. You're getting Fahim Ashraf, who has decent pace, but not as good as Mohammad Wasim Jr. So you don't have the team. The middle order still looks wobbly. Iftikhar scored against Nepal, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
right?
he scored a
After
century
that,
in
what
Nepal.
has he done? Where do they have the middle order? Mohammad Rizwan, for all that hype that he gets, has done nothing in
And he's
ODIs.
terrible with DRS.
Terrible with
Terrible
DRS.
with
Terrible,
DRS.
absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
So is Babar Azam. I mean, Babar Azam relies heavily on Rizwan apparently.
Yes.
And-
But they don't have the resources. That the bubble of Pakistan being the team to beat has to be burst now.
Yeah.
And if they want to do well at the World Cup, they have to look inwards, make some changes, accept that there are frailties, and they have to get over it.
And so much about Babar Azam as a batter.
Yeah.
I can't remember one good knock from Babar Azam since that 100 against New Zealand in 2019 World Cup. You as a captain, you should step up. You are a world class batter. There are talks that now there are five batters in the world. You being the fifth one. So Virat Kohli has stepped up when his team needed. Joe Root has stepped up. Kane Williamson has stepped up. Steve Smith has stepped up. Why don't you step up?
You're talking about big matches, right?
Yeah.
Major tournaments. Yeah.
Babar Azam, and I'm not saying this.
Otherwise his average reads 55, 60.
Yeah, that's what I'm
coming
coming to. So I'm not saying this.
So are you
but
saying that he's stat padding?
I'm not saying this. His stats say this. He has always gone invisible in these big matches. You see, against India, his highest score is 48. He has not even scored a single 15-5 ODIs. What else do you want?
No, but maybe he'll, from what I see of the Pakistan team, and I've said this during the T20 World Cup last year as well, that that was a spectacular innings from Virat Kohli again. But again, I had said that last year as well, that look, Pakistan is not the team to beat.
Yes.
Pakistan were lucky to get past the group stages because of the shock defeat for South Africa.
Against Netherlands.
Exactly. And South Africa shouldn't have lost that game. They did. Pakistan were defeated by Zimbabwe. One day?
Yeah.
In that T20 World Cup. That was another shocker. They were very ordinary against India. And even now, I do not agree with people who say that, look, Pakistan could be among the last four. I'm sorry, no. I think Sri Lanka are a better team that way.
Absolutely.
In fact, look, India also have to plow out a lot of their issues themselves, right? It's good that KL Rahul is back. He's fit. He's been keeping wickets. He has been spectacular with the reviews as well behind the stumps. He's looked much more assured, much calmer.
Yes.
After his return. He's played 2 matches, and I thought that 13 against Sri Lanka was also a very, very good innings. Technically, he showed his presence of mind. We've often criticized KL Rahul for his performances in the T20 format, but we also said that, look, he's a different beast in one-day cricket. The only question mark was over his fitness, and we asked those questions on the sledging room as well. Should he have been a part of the Asia Cup squad? The moment he was ruled out of the first 2 matches, there were genuine questions. Why are you obsessing over someone who's not entirely fit? Maybe the team management knew better and they got him in. Obviously, if you have a fit KL Rahul, that's a different story. But look at the questions of Shreyas Iyer as well.
Going back
Shreyas
to
Iyer, what happened to him?
Just getting back, stepping back a little bit. You spoke about Sri Lanka being a better team. They are still under strength. Keep that in mind.
Exactly.
They don't have a lot of their big guns.
4 bowlers and 1 batter.
Yeah, and look at the spirit with which they played. Look at the body language. There is a difference. And look at the coach sitting there. Chris Silver would always be there.
He was always there.
And what is the case with Pakistan? There are questions being asked about why the mentor who's not there.
Oh, he's a Zoom coach. They have called him
has
Zoom
an online
coach,
coach.
Mickey Arthur.
Yeah.
Mickey Arthur. So there are issues with Pakistan that they have to address. And Sri Lanka, in these conditions, Sri Lanka are a dangerous team. I'll not say that they might be good in Sena conditions, but in these conditions where spin...
No, look at their batting lineup.
Yeah.
We'll come to their spinners. We've discussed a part of how they almost bowled 40 overs on a pitch like that. Pathom Nissanka, don't have Avishka Fernando yet.
Yes.
Dhananjay De Silva is such a class act. Gosal Mendes is a superb batsman in these conditions, in these formats.
Yeah.
And now you have this Dunit Velalage guy. He's 20. He's all of 20.
And Shanaka is not in the greatest of his form.
But again, he steps up. And as captain, he would want to step up. You're right. He's not scored a lot of runs recently, but he will want to prove himself. But he's such a good captain. I mean, the more I see of him, the more I like him. His captaincy, his self-assuredness and the way he celebrates with his players. You know,
Absolutely.
it just gives out a different vibe.
We learnt it from Hardik Pandya at Gujarat.
No, I mean Hardik Pandya as an IPL captain has been brilliant, but I think Dasun Shanaka just brings something to
Dasun
that.
Shanaka won the Asia Cup before joining Gujarat Titans by the way.
Definitely.
He did.
That was yeah.
And
Now, why I stopped you there is, Raj, because you slightly brushed that KL Rahul.
no, I did not. I brought it up myself.
Yeah, you
You
brushed
did not
it
want
under
to.
the carpet.
You wanted me to take a
you were
step back.
suddenly
I wanted
talking about
to.
Sri Lanka and Pakistan.
No,
and then
I said we've
you
asked
tried to
questions.
slip it
No,
in,
no, no,
brush
no,
it
no,
under
no.
the
You took me a step back when I was the one who
know,
started with the
yes.
KL Rahul
at the
point.
start of the podcast,
Yes.
I thought we'll all go 1 minute. We'll all observe 1 minute silence because all your criticism, the depth of the criticism, has been witnessed in
Go
the
back to
Asia Cup Super
any of those
Fours.
episodes. You know, the moment somebody starts doing well, you'll say, "Oh, let's go back." But I'm telling you, go back to some of those episodes. What did we ask? We criticized KL Rahul's performances in the T20 format. We've criticized KL Rahul's performances in the IPL this last season before he got injured. We also criticized that, conundrum and that confusion, that fitness paradigm. I mean, that wasn't to question KL Rahul. That was to question the team management running so close to the World Cup. But obviously now you'll say that, okay, look, that stand was vindicated because KL Rahul came back, scored the unbeaten 100 against Pakistan, scored 39 crucial runs against a top quality, top-notch Sri Lanka spin
On a
attack.
difficult pitch.
On a very difficult pitch, and he kept wickets as well, right?
I think,
in both the games.
to be fair to the both of you, I think the Indian team management took a bold call and it has paid off.
I'm not so sure with the Shreyas Iyer call
Yeah,
if he already
definitely.
has a back spasm. And
Definitely.
I was a little nervous still even with that niggle before the Asia Cup because it was a very, it was very opaque.
Yeah.
What is a niggle?
Absolutely.
How long would he be out?
Yeah.
So you are bound to be a little concerned with these things because you haven't even looked at alternatives. And Surya Kumar Yadav being that side. But anyway, we've
But very happy for someone like KL Rahul, the way he has, come back and he has looked top class. Like yesterday, we were discussing, he looked like a captain material, marshalling the spinners from behind the wickets, advising in terms of DRS calls.
And Rohit Sharma got it wrong.
Rohit Sharma got-
Sheepish smile later. But
there was an episode
KL Rahul
where-
is usually good with DRS.
and he
because-
looks like he has missed the sport and he wants to
Yes.
do well.
Yeah.
That willingness is there, and I think the team management saw it in him, and he has shown his class at number 5.
No, he has. But, also, KL Rahul, we've discussed his class and his quality in the one-day format. My problem is with the games that have taken place back-to-back, right?
Yes.
2 questions here. India's performance against Pakistan, flawless. You cannot question anybody and any player, and you can't question the tactics. You can indeed say that Pakistan are not going to be the team to beat in this ODI World Cup. Even if they are number 2, even if they're going to win the Asia Cup, I still wouldn't back Pakistan to be the team to beat. Could be Australia, England for sure. New Zealand, you never count them out in any world event. South Africa looking very dangerous. Temba
With
Bavuma has
so
gotten
much
back
of
on the
IPL
runs.
experience in their squad.
Aiden Markram scored
David
100.
Miller,
All
Quinton
of
de
them.
Kock.
David Miller is batting at number 6, imagine. Gerald
What a
Coetzee,
team, what a
their
team.
Gerald Coetzee, their
Yes.
latest pace sensation is really quick. And they have Rabada and Enric Nokia. There's a superb pace lineup there as well. And then you have Keshav Maharaj
And Shamsi.
and
The spin
Tabraiz
duo.
Shamsi. And both of them have, and Tabraiz Shamsi in particular has played a lot of cricket in the subcontinent. But here's my point. Flawless performances. You have to give credit to Rohit Sharma for accelerating earlier because he knew spin would play a part. That was a tactical call. KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan, sturdy partnership. And Akshar Patel as well got some runs low down the order. But my problem was with the dismissals.
Yes.
Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma. We were talking about it. We were like, oh goodness, Tumit Vela lagi. Of course, he's come with a reputation, right? And we were a little worried. What if? And what if India lose early? Because that's exactly what happened. From 80 for no loss in the 11th over, you slipped to 91 for 3, losing 3 wickets for 11 runs. Similar patterns of dismissals. Shubman Gill planted. Virat Kohli, again, I think he was dropped at short mid-on, and again, that catch was taken right there. Short mid-wicket, I think it was. And Rohit Sharma just tentatively on the back foot, and the ball slipped through. Admittedly difficult pitch, but the way KL Rahul and Ishan Kishan batted also showed you the way you need to apply yourselves on those pitches. You could get pitches like that in Chennai and Delhi against very, very potent spin attacks. Lessons learned or not learned yet?
I think they will. It was a good workout. The match against Sri Lanka in the Super Force was a good workout, but you can't brush these things under the carpet. Virat Kohli hasn't done well against left arm spin or leg spin for that matter in the recent past. Okay, but when you start against this, he hasn't started well against left arm spin or leg spin. This year alone, he has gotten out to left arm spin 4 times. And Shubman Gill, we all know that how his struggles against spin is well documented. He can be aggressive against spin, but when you start out against spin, when you start out against good spinners, and what if teams have seen that struggle against Tunit Velalage, and all of them have left arm paces, all of them have leg spinners, so you need to find a way around it. Maybe having Ishan Kishan as a floater might work or might not work. What is your take on it? Like,
I think he will be a floater.
Don't be rigid with the top 3 is also what I'm saying.
No, but they will be rigid with the top 3 because
That is what
that
they've
is
been
something
doing.
that they've already, let out on the media. But I think Ishan Kishan will be used as a floater. You're right. Yesterday he was, for instance,
Number 4.
coming in at number 4 ahead of KL Rahul because of the left arm spin of Velalege, which I thought was a good move. Yeah. And he will be used as a floater because of his power hitting, and because of his abilities against both pace and spin. I mean, he's shown his tendency to play spin that well. And for a guy so naturally aggressive, I liked the way he held one end up. Yeah. I think KL Rahul was a little more proactive, which was also great to watch. And again, KL Rahul has been good against spin. You have someone like Shreyas Iyer who, if fit, would have also been a brilliant fit in that particular lineup. So, you have to be, and they will be flexible with that. KL Rahul would, you never know. He could come in at number 4, number 5. I think mostly that would be swapped between those two guys. Or if India have got off to a terrific platform thanks to the top 3, you might see Hardik Pandya coming in at number 4. So he's one of the best hitters of the cricket ball in the world in those death overs. But my concern is strictly with the way India's top order has sometimes fared against left arm. And it goes back to the 2015 World Cup semi-final. It goes to the 2019 World Cup semi-final when the top 3 fell to left arm pace. You had the same situation in the 2017 Champions Trophy final. You've had that through the ages in Test cricket and T20 cricket, and again, there's a 20-year-old guy who comes in and exposes that again. What's something that's happening repeatedly can't be a coincidence. If you make a mistake once or twice, you can brush it aside under the carpet and say, look, these are world-class cricketers, world-class batsmen, but this is happening repeatedly. And now you're going to face Mitchell Starc. You're going to have to face Trent Boult, Shaheen Afridi again. Shaheen Afridi already troubled you in the first game. He was way off the mark in that Super 4 match. So you need to be a little more.
We've all seen
Absolutely.
what happens in the IPL in the evening sessions.
And if you're talking about spinners, you're going to play Afghanistan in Delhi. The way Afghanistan played on a Lahore pitch against Pakistan, they might come and surprise you if your batters don't learn the lesson and they don't play well. And if you're talking about these consistent issues, there are a lot of issues in this Indian team also which have been persistent. For example, this. Then we all have seen what happened with Akshar Patel when he was bowling. Definitely he was very good with the bat. Had he not scored those runs, we would not have got those extra 20 runs. But with the ball, what was he doing? Yeah. I mean, he was a weak link in that bowling. Yes. He conceded runs. He gave 5 wides, I think. And that was changing the complexion of the game.
Yeah. Do you want to have him in the squad, as in the 11?
I don't think he's going to be a part of playing 11.
I think it would be situational, right? You're going to have to see how and who replaces each of these two, right?
I'm still asking both of you this question. Yeah. Would it have been better to pick an off spinner instead of Akshar Patel in the squad? World Cup squad. You still have time till the 20th.
It is very one-dimensional, Akshay, like I was talking to you yesterday, right? I was telling you yesterday, look, there are 3 left-arm spinners on this side. Yeah. One is obviously left-arm Chinaman, very, very different from Jadeja and Akshar. But even with Jadeja and Akshar, there's a lot of difference. Jadeja is more side-arm, slightly. Yes. It's quicker off the air. Akshar Patel more straight-arm. But the way Jadeja bowls is to also, he targets those wickets. From every time I've seen Akshar Patel in action, he's almost targeting that outside edge with the bat. You're taking out those possibilities of LBW. I mean, the way he was coming around the wicket with a slightly slanted angle for a left-arm spinner to come down the wicket, you're taking away the real juicy chances of getting out those LBWs, pitching outside leg. Even if you're getting the ball to turn sharply, you're immediately taking that out. You're taking out, you're taking out chances to bowl the batsman between the legs. Maybe even with the wicketkeeper coming into play, you're minimizing those chances. You're really relying a lot on slip catching or a fielder behind square on the offside. So there are limitations, but I don't know whether those points have been conveyed to Akshar Patel and he's been asked to bowl with those particular lines, maybe just to ask him to hold one end up. But again, think of Akshar Patel's mindset. He's a terrific bowler in Test cricket in these conditions. Yes. He has picked up backfuls of wickets. So would you really expect him to do that repeatedly, and would that work? When you ask an aggressive batsman to be overtly defensive, it never works unless he changes his mindset according to the situation of the game. So I think Akshar Patel his role needs a bit of a revisit. I don't think they'd want to swap him with another right-arm off-spinner so close to the World Cup, because you haven't played someone like R. Ashwin for about 2 years now in one-day cricket. Washington Sundar has been, I don't know where, and he should have been somewhere in the mix. I keep saying that after the Brisbane knock. But I think, yes, Akshar Patel, I think it's a change in mindset and more clarity from the team position. But Shardul Thakur as well, right? He was very good against Pakistan. He is prone to be expensive, but again,
he will get you those wickets.
He'll get you those wickets. But between Akshar and Shardul, I think, Akshar is the better batsman. Yeah. He's the better batsman. And those 20-odd runs made the difference. I mean, India would have still lost won by 15 runs if you assume Akshar did not bat or scored 0. But I think that sort of adds to the pressure when you have Akshar Patel coming in at number 8?
Yes.
Which is quite a bit of depth. But
so there's no chance of playing 3 frontline quicks in this.
But we've already talked about it, right? Yeah. You are not going to be able to do that because,
from the evidence of the Super 4 matches and the group matches.
Don't go by what happened against Pakistan alone. Look, some of those problems are still there.
Exactly.
It's not like you scored 350 odd for the first time. Yes, this is your joint highest score against Pakistan in one-day cricket, but it's not like you haven't scored 340, 350 in one days in bilateral series. It's not like you haven't scored heavily in Asia Cups. It's not like you haven't won Asia Cups. You've won a lot of Asia Cups. You're the most successful Asia Cup team in Asia Cup history. It comes to the World Cup. Yeah. It comes to the pressure of ICC events. That's when your true mettle will be, found out. 2011, look at the way those guys played. I mean, that's, for me, for our generation, I think that it's going to be one team up on the pedestal. Sachin, Yuvraj, Zahid, Dhoni, Gambhir, all of these guys. But now you're talking to the current generation who haven't won an ICC title in 10 years. I mean, how many of these players were actually part of that team? Rohit and Kohli? I don't think
Rohit, Kohli, Jadeja.
Rohit, Kohli, Jadeja.
2013.
2013, right? Yeah. So the others have no experience of winning an ICC event. Kohli, of course, won in 2011 and Rohit won in 2007. But generally speaking,
Kohli can actually become the first India cricketer to win 2
World Cups.
Yeah. So that's what you're looking at, essentially.
Yeah. But I still think if you're talking about Pakistan or not the team to beat, Sri Lanka, competitive, but not at the elite level yet. Your real test will begin when in the ODI series against Australia. You're building up well, you're ticking those boxes, but I don't think we should get complacent with whatever we are doing at this stage, because the 3 ODIs against Australia, because their full strength team, they will also look to get them back, like the injured stars like Mitchell Stark, Steve Smith and all of them.
Lynn Maxwell, they're all waiting in the wings.
And don't forget Manas Labuschagne. He's not part of the preliminary World Cup squad. Comes back against South Africa with 80 and an unbeaten 100.
Yeah.
Didn't get many
2
runs in the
match-winning innings.
Exactly. Didn't get any runs in the third ODI, but there are 2 more ODIs for Australia against South Africa. Yeah. You never know if he's going to be part of that mix. England have to yet decide on Harry Brook. Yeah. They still have time to decide on
Talking about these decisions of playing an extra batter, would you take the risk with Shreyas Iyer now?
That depends on his fitness, first of all.
Yeah.
If he's fit, I think he will play. He will be part of that playing 11.
But where will you play him now?
Will he bowl those 3 or 4 overs with his leg spin?
I don't think so.
Where will you guys both play him now?
No. So if you saw what happened in those 2 matches, Ishan Kishan was a wicketkeeper before KL Rahul came. Yeah. Once KL Rahul comes in, he takes up that wicket-keeping glove, and Ishan Kishan is playing as an outfielder. Yeah.
Will you drop Ishan Kishan?
Maybe they'll drop Ishan Kishan.
I have a point to make here. Shreyas Iyer. Yeah. You got Akshar Patel to bowl 5 overs. Shardul Thakur bowled 4 overs against Nepal. Can you not get 4 overs out of Shreyas Iyer somewhere? I mean, he's bowled leg spin. I'm just thinking, as out of the box. Yeah. That's why you picked Tilak Verma in that squad. I don't know, maybe he gets a game against Bangladesh, or maybe he gets a couple of games against Australia. Test his mettle out.
But he's an Indian top order batter. What are you expecting from him? How can
from who?
Shreyas Iyer. How can these people bowl?
But then they're later generation.
But I wouldn't even pick him in the 11 now. There is no spot for him in the 11.
Shreyas Iyer has rolled his arm over in one-day cricket, hasn't he? He's bowled
he has bowled.
I'm not saying he's Stuart McGill or Shane Warne, but
We all know
can-
that. We all knew that the Indian team thought about playing Shreyas Iyer ahead of KL Rahul.
Yeah.
In that game against Pakistan Super Force, KL Rahul in his interview said that I knew about my selection only 10-15 minutes before the toss.
5
The
minutes
manager had to
before
run back to the hotel to get his kit.
So that tells you that Shreyas Iyer was an automatic choice in the squad,
Playing 11.
in the playing 11. But how will I personally wouldn't play him now. He has to wait for his chances because KL, you can't drop KL after this, and you can't drop Ishan after what he has done
See,
against Pakistan in the 2 matches.
last time when we were here for the podcast,
Yeah.
we both said,
Yeah.
apart from you did not say it, we both said that Ishan Kishan should not be dropped. He should be the wicketkeeper because he has been performing. And Shreyas Iyer walks in because he was
Yes.
fit for that game.
Yes.
Now that KL Rahul is fit,
Yeah.
he has performed in those 2 games,
Yeah.
he will be part of this. Yes, I agree with you. Ishan Kishan should be part of the playing 11, but you never know what this team management is thinking.
But that left-hander will be robbed off from the middle order.
No, I don't. Frankly, I disagree with the both of you. I don't think Ishan Kishan will be left out of this playing 11 because you need a left-hander. Yes, you don't have a left-hander in the top order. I mean, unless you're counting Jadeja in as well. Jadeja has been very disappointing with the bat throughout this year in one-day cricket. You were looking up the numbers.
And in
his
the
numbers-
Asia Cup particularly, he hasn't. Under pressure, he always does well, but I
Exactly.
don't know why he hasn't done well.
ODI has not been his format.
Yes.
as a
ODI is
batter.
not his format as a batsman.
think we're
Exactly.
mixing formats
You know,
again.
T20s, test matches obviously, but in T20s he's better than in ODIs. But my point is, I think India will be flexible with these 3 players now. Akshar Patel, Shardul Thakur and Shreyas Iyer now or Surya Kumar Yadav because Ishan Kishan is now untouchable. KL Rahul quickly realized that look, there's a bit of a competition for that 5th batsman. I need
This is the
to
number 3 spot vacant, Raj.
come on.
Man's
against
key.
Pakistan. We can't,
He's 3 centuries short of breaking Sachin Tendulkar's record. Let's not.
Yeah, exactly. No, obviously. But I'm thinking of these 3 being rotated. And if India feel confident in certain conditions, they might go with 5 bowlers and say, you know what, Shreyas could fill in as an extra batsman somewhere, depending on the conditions. If you think it's a very, very bowler-dominated condition, and if it's a slow pitch, you never know. Shreyas Iyer might be practicing some wrist spin in the backyard. And then you have Tilak Verma as well, who's not part of the World Cup squad.
Yes.
He could be enlisted, but he needs to get a game. You think any experiments against Pakistan? Maybe play Tilak and Surya.
Bangladesh.
Against Bangladesh, not against Pakistan.
I think we should we should give these players one chance. You have
Which players? Tilak, Sky,
I think
Prasid.
Tilak deserves a chance over Sky. Sky has not performed in last 16-17 ODIs. Tilak Verma was good when he played in that West Indies T20I series. I'm not mixing formats, but and he can roll over.
No, you're not mixing formats. We are not mixing
Selectors
formats.
have mixed
The selectors have mixed
Yeah.
formats because he has been drafted into the ODI side on the basis of his West Indies
So
performance.
if Akshar Patel bowls 5 overs, Tilak Verma can also bowl those 5 overs. So why not play him?
Okay, quickly. We are running out of time, but one very important question that needs to be addressed. One point that needs to be addressed is that India's fitness woes have seem to have evaporated. Jasprit Bumrah never looked like he went away. So high fives on that. KL Rahul comes back, scores runs, keeps wickets, superb. The only problem is right now Shreyas Iyer, and we hope there is some sense of news because he looked good in that short innings against Pakistan.
And there's no doubting his ODI numbers in the last
At
1
home
year.
especially, and his abilities against spin.
Definitely.
Does that make India suddenly one of the favourites now?
I will not go on that pedal one.
Come on, 3 successive victories in ODIs.
You know what? As you rightly said,
4 successive few to come.
I think few minutes ago you said winning Asia Cup and then playing in IC tournament is a completely different thing. So until unless you go and win every game in that World Cup, I will not say India are favourites. I will not go with that.
You know what? I don't want India to win every game in the World Cup because look at what happened in 2009.
Oh,
You
yes.
lost against England, yes, but you were top of the group and you lost the
2019,
semi-final.
yes.
2011, you lost to South Africa and you tied against England. Disappointing results, but those hiccups happened early on in the tournament. 2015, again, you were literally unbeatable, and then you go
you
and
were
lose
blown
to
away in the
semi-final.
semi-final.
So let them lose 1 or 2.
No,
Let them
but
at
why?
least
Let
win
them-
the World Cup.
Let them be unbeaten. Let them have a perfect.
Very
World Cup.
rarely, by the way, unless you're Australia, very rarely have teams who've been completely dominant in World Cup league stages and in the run up to the finals. Have
No,
become-
I would want to change that perception that we had.
I'm a bit
last week.
superstitious like that, so I wouldn't mind a defeat here and there. Get those early hiccups rather than the late ones, right?
See, as far as I am concerned,
Just
India,
win those must-win matches.
India can be considered one of the favourites because there was no doubting the quality of the players
I think the
in the run-up.
consistency is-
in the consistency. And from what we have seen in the Asia Cup, although they have come against decent oppositions who can trouble foreign teams in the subcontinent, I think India are ticking the right boxes, and they might go into the World Cup with a good mindset. But I do hope that India win the Asia Cup. You need that winning form again. You have not won a major tournament also in the
Yes.
last few years. Last Asia Cup, we
Look,
didn't
Akshay, it's
even make the
important
final.
not to get too carried away is also why, because you lost to Bangladesh in December. You won
Exactly.
against Sri Lanka at home.
Yes. You
Okay.
lost to Australia.
You
Won
won
against
against an understand New Zealand side. You lost. You couldn't compete against the Australians, by the way. You went and lost an ODI to the West Indies, but again, you were playing way below way below strength. And again, Pakistan, very ordinary one-day team. So let's not get too carried away by that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. As Indians, we never want to lose to Pakistan.
But
So-
definitely, winning the Asia Cup, regardless of how good
That is
the
not going to
oppositions
answer
are.
too many
You know what?
questions.
But that winning feeling,
Yeah.
you have not made those big finals in the past.
The positives I'm taking from the Asia Cup campaign so far are KL Rahul's fitness,
Yeah.
Jasprit Bumrah's fitness, Kuldeep Yadav's consistency,
Yeah.
and some time in the middle for Virat Kohli because he needed to get some runs against a so-called established team somewhere. And those are the only positives. I'm not going to get too carried away by the win against Bangladesh or even against Sri Lanka. You did get a decent workout, your bowlers, but I think that should be
Yeah,
the
see,
end of that.
I will say it. You have got 5 games before the ODI World Cup, 2 in Asia Cup. You're playing the final, you're playing Bangladesh, 3 ODIs against Australia. So every game gives you a chance to get better, and you have to be better and better and better if you want to win the World Cup. So I don't care if they lose one game or draw one game or they go unbeaten. I just want them to win the World Cup. I don't want them to enter the World Cup as favorites. I want them to come out as winners.
The positives that I took from India's performances in the last few matches in the Asia Cup is the criticism, the depth of the criticism, undue criticism that you both had. I'm happy
No,
that
no undue
I'm
criticism.
happy-
Come on,
I'm
Akshay.
happy that
You go need some coffee. You wanted to get a cup of coffee before entering the studio. I said, don't bring anything, any hot beverages or any beverage of any sort to the studio. You're clumsy. You really are.
see the retorts.
We do get personal in the sledging room, but that's that. It's been a happy week for Indian cricket. Any week with a victory for Pakistan is always a happy week. So that's what we're happy about. But like I said, let's not get carried away. Pakistan are not the best team in the world. Don't just go by what the rankings say. You're looking at some stiff competition from Australia, England. I wouldn't count on New Zealand ever in any ICC event, and South Africa.
Yes.
They're shaping up very, very, very well. And again, Sri Lanka will be the underdogs of this tournament. Do not count out that Afghanistan spin attack on helpful pitches. So there's a lot of cricket to be played between now and the World Cup. Some big matches coming up. Potentially another India-Pakistan final. And of course, 3 ODIs against Australia. That will be the real test of your reserves and your bench strength as well as those 2 warm-up matches just before India's first World Cup match against Australia on the 8th of October. But you know that we will keep you covered and updated. And of course, analyze everything that happens on the cricket field between now and the World Cup and beyond. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great week. Look forward to more episodes on the Sledging Room. Goodbye. You are on India Today podcasts and you are in the Sledging Room.